Hello, Internet people. Welcome back to Coach's Corner with Heck and King. It is Thursday, January 22nd. We are live from Corby's, my house in Texas, which is about to become a giant block of ice, and various other locations throughout these United States of America. We've got a jam-packed show for you tonight. We'll put a bow on the Indiana Hoosiers winning the national championship in football. What a development. The NFL playoffs are down to... as my wife tries to creep through the shot. The NFL playoffs are down to 4. Major League Baseball is going to be dead here after this season, and much more to get to here on Coach's Corner.
Coach's Corner with Coach Heck and the infamous Coach Patrick King. Some of the stuff we say.
We're not responsible for our actions.
No,
we're sober.
In essence, and you could tell me to shut the hell up, but in essence, you got chemo face, right?
I got chemo face. When I go to scores table to talk to coach, I said, get as many pictures as you can. And it kind of reminded me that the stories you said when you coached the McDonald's game, when you had LeBron say, okay, LeBron signed this because someday it's going to be important.
What did one casket say to the other? Is that you coughing? And you ain't that good. The scouting report said you were pretty good. You ain't that good.
Coach's Corner with Heck and King live at Corby's Irish Pub in South Bend is brought to you by Tony Letcher with Health Markets Insurance, Han Funeral Homes in Mishawaka, Frick's Driving School in Mishawaka, and the Harbor Group Planned Wealth down in Anderson. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment in the chat. And now here's Heck and King.
Hey, what a day. What a show. IU Natty show. IU Natty show, man. And we are loaded. We have some great guests tonight. What Indiana University did is unprecedented. It's unparalleled. It may never, ever happen again. And all the pundits out there that say, can IU sustain this and do it again? Here's what I say. They don't have to do it again. They did it once, man, and they are so freaking good. We have.
Hey, it is going to be paralleled. They will play a national championship next year.
Yes, they will. But one of my great friends is a former a sports reporter, sports editor, sports everything at the Bloomington Herald Telephone. Mr. Lynn Hauser, who is IU everything. IU everything and Edgewood Mustang everything, right?
That's right. One and the same, man. Both close to my heart.
Oh, my Edgewood. Oh, my God. You didn't tell me that part.
Edgewood, man. So listen, let's just jump right into this stuff, Lynn. I mean, give me your feelings, your emotions, the whole gamut, man, because you've been there when, in the immortal words of 1946 Mr. Basketball, Jumpin' Johnny Wilson, when the Hoosiers couldn't bust a freaking grape, right? Talk to me and tell me, man, where are you at with all this?
Frankly, I'm not sure I've really processed it yet. It's just so astounding and unthinkable. When I was a student from 1968 to 72, those were 3 of the 4 were losing seasons, and the other one ended badly because of a player walkout. So that was my student experience at IU. And then to see what these students get to experience again, but they don't have the baggage that guys like you and me have of all those lousy years of just waiting until basketball arrived. And so to watch this unfold in real time in front of a national stage, and they're having trouble processing it too. I mean, you just hear it in the announcer's voice and everything. It's just like, this is Indiana. They sucked. Their whole miserable existence pretty much, except for a handful of seasons. And here we are talking natty.
Yeah, and we're talking about a handful of seasons. So Kurt Signetti has been there 2 years, 27-2. Let's take a look at some of these years before that. Tom Allen was there for 7 years. Nice guy. In 7 years, won 33 games. Kevin Wilson, I don't know, maybe not so nice, not so much of a nice guy. He was there for 6 years, 26 wins. Billy Lynch, great guy. Was there for 4 years, 19 wins. Terry Hepner, his tenure cut short by illness, was there 2 years, 9 wins. Jerry DiNardo, 3 years, 8 wins. Cam Cameron, 5 years, 18 wins. And all of that before Big Bill Mallory, who was there for 13 years and won 68 games. So what Coach Cignetti did is unfathomable, right?
Oh, I mean, I'm talking about walking the walk. When he came there and predicted, the first year he said, we're going to be playing in the Big Ten championship game. Well, they just missed it by losing to Ohio State, but there they were this year and winning it and winning all their games. And then winning the Rose Bowl. I don't know how many conversations I had with friends over the years. Say, boy, I'm not sure I got enough years in me to wait for IU to win a Rose Bowl. And they won a Rose Bowl this year. Then they won a Peach Bowl. And then the Natty. It's just, he's doing something right for sure. I think he's got a great staff, a fantastic assistant coaches. They've got a process, and they just wash, rinse, and repeat, I think. They're so prepared. You can see that fundamentally sound, and they know what kind of players will fit their system. And they go out and of course, this couldn't have happened without the portal and the new NIL rules and all that. We understand that, but he's figured out a way to really make it work by getting the right guys in the right system.
Yeah, it's right. You kind of wonder, could he have done this without not necessarily without NIL, but without the portal system? Because he went out and found players almost like interchangeable parts. We were talking off air with some people. He's like a mechanic that needed a water pump, so he found a water pump. He needed a fuel pump, so he went out and found a fuel pump. He found a quarterback. He found a center. He found a couple linemen. He found his wide receivers, guys that were willing to do things the way he wanted to do. You were around last time IU was in the Rose Bowl. OJ they played against OJ, and
yeah, I was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
Hey, you were a senior in high school. I wasn't even born yet.
Stop it.
That shows how much older you are than me. Hey, have you talked to any of your friends in Bloomington and found out or heard how nuts it was? Because I know you were there when IU won their last national championship in basketball, and you saw the town. Now you live in Florida. Have you talked to anybody and got the pulse of what's going on in Bloomington this week?
Well, most of my friends are old geezers that wouldn't have dared going out into that mob, at midnight. But we did talk late into the night. People like Andy Graham, fellow sports writer at
yes,
Bloomington Herald Times, and both of us we're still kind of pinching ourselves, like, this is just so amazing, and I find it as enjoyable, if not more than that 87 national championship that I missed out on the celebration because I was down in New Orleans covering the game, sitting next to Bob Hamill and Andy Grant. The three of us were there covering that game. And, we got to see Keith Smart hit that shot and win the game. And, what a wonderful thing to see. But, he kind of expected to win back then. This was totally unexpected.
Well, I think it was unexpected, maybe in November, but once December rolled around and everybody saw that this was for real, because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the pundits, the talking heads, I think they all thought that the shoe was going to fall at some point in the season. I think number one might have been that Illinois game. Illinois is really, really tough, blah, blah, blah. Then I think maybe the first Oregon game. Oh, we got to go to Oregon, blah, blah, blah. But the longer it went, I think it kind of created and, carried on a life of its own, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the fact that they played Iowa on the road, Oregon on the road, Penn State on the road, and boy, Penn State played its best game of the season against Indiana. And if it wasn't for that terrific pass from Mendoza to Cooper, probably would have pulled off the upset. But you're right. Once they got into December, and to me, the key game was beating Ohio State for the Big Ten championship, because then it was kind of like playing with house money after that. We had a title. I say we. IU had a title.
Sure they did.
And
You're allowed to say we.
Yeah. Best player. Okay. When you covered IU all those years, best player you covered, was it Anthony Thompson? Was it Trent Green? Best player you covered?
Well, I would say Antoine Randall. And the fact that we had him for 4 years and never went to a bowl game with him shows you how bad the rest of the program was. Because he just take the passing yardage he piled up, the rushing yards, went on to a great career in the NFL. And you mentioned some great names. I mean, Anthony Thompson should have won the Heisman in 1989. And with Trent Green should have been a Super Bowl winner if he didn't blow out his knee. And don't forget Von Dunbar was.
Dunbar. What about Wale? I mean, what about Wale Agunlier? There, I got it. Wale Agunlier.
He was the captain. Wasn't he the honorary captain the other night?
Yes.
You pulled that name out of the hat, didn't you?
Yeah. Adewale Agunlier. Yes, played for the Bears.
He had a heck of a career in the pros.
Yeah, and so you mentioned Antoine Randall. What's he doing now?
He's coaching someplace.
Stop. He's a wide receivers coach for the Chicago Bears. Come on, man. You know I'm a Bear guy. Come on.
He knew the answer before he asked you.
Yeah, he baited me on that.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he could have been a great football player or basketball player at IU also, as he was a really good high school basketball player. Did you make it to any of the games?
No. Of course, living here in Florida, that was
You're down there full time, huh?
Yeah, but I've got them almost all recorded. All the good ones. And we just watched the replay of the championship game last night, and relished that, relived it all over again. So
let me ask you this: 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when the three of us are probably gone, what are people going to remember about?
Stop.
20 years from now,
gone.
Okay, he doesn't. I can't say. Okay, a long time from now.
I got a new freaking liver, man. My liver's I'm only 30 years old.
All right, can I ask my question?
Go, fire.
All right, when the history books are written, what are they going to remember about this championship game? What are the one or two things they're going to remember about this championship, the game itself, not necessarily the season?
Well, for sure, Mendoza's fantastic quarterback draw. I mean, that is one that will be shown on clips in future years, is when they open up this show and show historic moments. And to think about it, the two most exciting plays of the entire college football season involve Fernando Mendoza. I mean, the pass to Omar Cooper against Penn State and Cooper's magic footwork. And then what Mendoza did the other night, like pinballing through half of the Miami defense and getting his world rocked at about the 5-yard line and still doing a 360 and lunging into the end zone. I mean, you can't make that up. I mean, I'm telling you, the movie script's going to be unbelievable to somebody who's seeing it for the first time.
Okay, now that Gene Hackman is gone in Hoosiers 2, who's going to play Kurt Signetti?
I'd say Kevin Costner.
There you go, man. There you go. Hey, listen, man. Thanks for taking a few minutes. I mean, IU athletics, IU sports, IU football, IU basketball, along with Edgewood sports, were your life for so many, many, many years. All those nights on the road, covering games, talking about kids, and then to be able to have a moment like this got to be so special for you, man.
Yeah, it's like the football gods took their foot off. They felt sorry for IU and took their foot off the collective necks and said, okay, you're due, IU. This is it for you. And I'm with you guys. If they don't ever do it again, I'll get over it.
That's okay.
No, it's almost like the Cubs winning the World Series in 2016, right?
Right. It got that enormous gorilla up everybody's back.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man, enjoy your time. I know you got a big meeting tonight. Tell your granddaughter thanks for hooking you up with us, and you're the best, man. And thanks for everything, all the nice things that you lied and wrote about me, man. You are absolutely amazing, man. Lynn, you're the best, man.
All right. Hey, call me anytime.
All right, you're the best. That's the great Lynn Hauser, former sports editor of the Bloomington Herald-Times. We're going to have the great Joe Matiga on with us here because Joe was there. And Joe is the owner of Corby's Irish Pub. He's going to give us about 15 to 20 minutes here, and we're going to slide Joe right in here.
We're not even going to do a commercial. We're
not going to there's no commercials on the Natty Show.
But we're going to have to disturb this hair he's got going today. What do you think of that?
Yeah, you got the mic on?
Oh, I do. I got him all twisted up.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a new sponsor, by the way, while he's getting himself organized. If you guys will look here, look what we have tonight.
Hoosier.
Well,
Hoosier Game Day Lager.
Hey, Joe, explain this.
Hey, ever since we started making a run here, my beer distributor approached me and said, "Hey, let's get some Hoosier stuff in here." And I said, "Absolutely." So we brought it in, and it's been great having them. Such good packaging, and really gets the spirit of IU with the cream and crimson there.
Oh, I think it's amazing. Actually, I think it's literally amazing. Now,
here's the nice thing: these are still cold.
Yeah, exactly.
I promised them they'd still be for them when we finish, but I don't know about that.
Show the fans how you can still shoot a beer.
We're not allowed to drink.
Shoot a beer. Who says?
I don't know.
I can't drink because I've had a liver transplant. You can throw all 4 of these down. Let me see you.
Before we get done, maybe.
Hey, so this is from a different perspective. Joe, what year did you graduate from IU?
I graduated December of 1999.
December of 1999. And you were down at the game. I mean, in Miami.
I was. I graduated in 99. My wife graduated a few years later. And when we couldn't make any of the Peach Bowl or the Rose Bowl because we had other commitments and we got 3 kids and we got a lot of stuff going on. So I told her, I said, if we make the national championship, I don't care, we're going. So I was able to get 2 tickets, and it was I can't even describe the feeling being in the stadium and watching that.
Took out a second or third mortgage for the tickets, right?
Yeah, for sure. But worth every penny. I had to witness this myself because my relationship to this team was through the television, and I really wanted to just lay eyes and see what it looked like. So getting down there and seeing so many IU people, it was the vibe and the connectivity there with other Hoosiers was palpable. You had so many old timers walking around, talking to them about how long they've been suffering IU fans, before I was born, and seeing kids who are students now down there partying, and this is their normal. This is what they have. When I was a student there, their freshman year, they won 2 games, sophomore year 3, junior year 2. So they were 7-26 by the time I was a senior. And, they would come to Briscoe. Freshman year, I lived in Briscoe. So they would come drop off tickets, but nobody wanted them because there was no point going. You
go to the tailgate and go home.
Man, it's like, I remember the conversation be like, we going in? Be like, why would we go in? So,
hell no, we're not going in. We're some more beer
inside that we need to be witnessing. So just seeing what's going on now and just seeing this team and this story, I mean, you cannot make this stuff up.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. And when you think about it, it was all Scott Dolson, the athletic director, and the president that said, we want to make this right. We want to do our research. We want to talk to people, and we want to make this right. And we want to, talk to as many people as we need to talk to make this right. But at the end of the day, the first guy they talked to, they knew he was the guy.
I mean, how could they have known he was this good? Like, I'm sure they, had a hunch or a feeling or whatever that is, but to see this turnaround in 2 years, to take them from where they were to where they are, that is, man, he had to exceed their expectations as well, because this is unworldly to see what he's done.
Yeah, and then during the interview process and everybody talking, and then in front of the cameras, when they asked him a question, and he said, "Just Google me, just Google me,
I win."
And they would find out that today he's 147-36. In his last 2 years at Indiana University, he's 27-2.
I would retire.
Wow.
That's.
I mean, 27-2. Now, okay. Here's a question because I know you're very formidable when it comes to athletics and knowing stuff. Could he have done this in another era, or did everything have to be perfect in this NIL, in the portal, in the ability to transfer for this to get done? Or if it would have been in another era, like 10 years ago, could he have done this?
I think so. I think his type of, he didn't do it by being a talent vulture and grabbing 5-star guys and 4-star guys and assembling a super team. He did it at the lowest level, building himself up at all these smaller spots, building up to Indiana, a Big Ten school, which, man, he said the culture when he arrived in Indiana was worse than it was at JMU. That they had more of a positive outlook on where they were as a program and self-confidence than IU did walking in there. So that's what he started with. But I think his ability to just take these pieces and just masterfully put them together, he doesn't need these 5-star kids. He needs a good 3-star kid who wants to listen and learn and grow with him. You know what I mean? And he found a team full of these guys, the Charlie Beckers and all these throwaways, and put them together. And man, watching them compete against a team like Miami, who, just with my bare eyes, you're watching these guys and you're just like, wow, they are big. They are much bigger than we are. But boy, it just shows you,
You just wonder how many times IU does not win warm-ups very often. When basketball games, when the other team comes out on the floor, the people are going, "Oh my gosh, look at them." That's kind of what you do when Miami went out there. When I was at the Cotton Bowl 2 weeks prior, and Ohio State at one end, you saw those big linemen from Miami. That one guy's what, 6'9", 330.
330.
Yeah,
he's quick and fast.
He's a house. Yeah. And the right tackle's not much smaller. I think he was 6'6", 3 something.
I mean, you could see it on the field. You just, wow, you're in awe of how much bigger these guys were.
Yeah, they were 5-star, 4-star and 5-star recruits, and they were good.
Yeah, I think Miami's going to be good for a while. I don't think I think he's got something cooking down there too. So seeing Sig do this in an era, maybe it made it quicker. Maybe he was able to put the pieces together quicker than he might have had to do it, without this sort of situation. But I don't know. I think a good coach translates at every level, and seeing him win at every single level, which is why he said, Google me. Nobody believed him. I mean, they thought it was, outlandish for this guy to walk into IU and be like, this is how it's going to be, and we're going to win. And he was the only one at the time who believed it.
And he spent some time in the SEC as an assistant coach to Nick Saban, and saw how it went. And then he had an opportunity. His father was the head coach at Indiana of Pennsylvania.
Correct.
And then he had an opportunity to take that head coaching job. And Nick Saban tried to talk him out of it. He tried to say, you're going to get buried there. You're going to work your brains out, and you're going to make this amount of money. Stay with me. And, I'll get you a better job. But he said no. He said, I want to go coach.
Yeah, this is a guy who has his own vision of what he wants to do and what he wants to accomplish. And I think that was given to him by his dad. And you see, the connection he had with his dad towards the end of the game, and how, he was dedicating all this to him. He went back to, Indiana University of Pennsylvania and brought the team back after his father had left. It started to decline. It wasn't the same program that his dad ran, and he brought it right back. And, what a beautiful story.
Yeah, I think it's a great story, and I think it's a story of not only success but doing it the right way. But here's a thought, and here's a question that a lot of the people are going to start asking now, because Michigan State a few years ago, when Mark D'Antonio was coaching, he signed a bunch of 3-star guys. And they were successful with 3-star guys. They went to the Rose Bowl and they won the Rose Bowl. Now, all of a sudden, Michigan State's name is out there. And now the 5-star kids said, yeah, man, recruit us. We want to be recruited by you. We want to come to Michigan State. And then what happened was the 5-star and the 4-star guys went to Michigan State. And now the culture went down the tubes, because you didn't have those kids that just played for their existence. You now had the 4- and 5-star recruits that think that either they were owed something, or we can't coach them the same way we coached 3-star recruits.
I think that's definitely something that I believe Urban Meyer brought up, talking about how, brought up that example earlier today. So, when he if there's ever a guy that you would trust to want to maintain the culture a certain way and to be as stubborn and obstinate about the process and doing everything correctly from the ground up, it's got to be this guy. So, I'm sure he's heard all this, and I think he's going to be more protective of that, knowing what he won with this year. They were saying this would be the least talented IU team that he might have. We'll see. Whatever talent it is, right? I mean, these guys do pretty well, but I hope he doesn't. It's not always shiny. It's not always good. So
yeah, I don't think he will ever be a sellout. I mean, he's 64 years old. He ain't 40 years old like when we were 40 years old. And I was telling Pat this. I would take my Anderson team. I would drive my Anderson team 200, 2 or 3 or 4 hours away just to get a W because I was 40 years old. At age 64, he's been to the top. All he's got to do is continue and keep his beliefs in order.
I couldn't agree more. And what better place to do that right now than Bloomington, Indiana? Yeah,
and the problem he's going to run into, and I believe that this will be a problem, is his two coordinators, Bryant Haynes. Bryant Haynes played football at Ball State, and he played for Brady Hoke. My nephew Jeff Eklinski was on that Ball State staff. They went undefeated, and Bryant Haynes was a defensive player on that staff, and then Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator. I know that they paid them a lot of money to keep them on board next year, but those guys will want to be head coaches.
It's inevitable, right?
No, it is, and as those guys' mentor, Coach Signetti will want them to be head coaches,
of course.
But then that'll be a transition that the people will watch,
sure, and
they'll say, where are we at now? Who are we bringing in now?
Exactly. Let me ask you this. What'd you do without getting too personal? What'd you do down there before the game? What'd you go see? What'd you do fun?
We did all the things. So we flew in there on Friday, got there a little late, but we got there and spent the night. The next day we met up with some friends of my wife's who were in sorority who had a big pep rally there on Bayfront, I believe it's called. So this park right on the water there downtown. All the IU, the band, everybody.
Oh, that had to be so cool.
So awesome. Just hearing just everybody together. The togetherness is what I will miss the most of that weekend because, you were connected to all these different IU people you never met before, and it was just really palpable. So did that, and then we did dinner, and then we got up early the next day, and we got into the stadium area as soon as we could because, I wanted to be there for the pep rally and look at all the corporate stuff. And, you're walking by, you see Marty Smith from ESPN and,
sure,
this guy and that guy. It was cool. Like,
you got to see some of the people you see on TV.
Yeah, I got to meet up with my old college roommate, 803 North Lincoln. Met these guys my sophomore year. We lived together for sophomore year, but we met each other in Briscoe, and being there with his sons and his wife and with my wife and, just all the things I thought about this weekend that's come even after the game, even as recently as today, just thinking about guys that I met my freshman year that I hadn't thought about in, 30 years or whatever. And just such a fondness, places like Jasper, Indiana that I never knew about before I moved to Bloomington or.
So what about, I was the head basketball coach at Jasper High School.
I did not know that.
Yes, I was. I lived down there for a year. I love Jasper.
Me too. I love it because the guys
beer drinking Germantown.
Just nice people. Like, just such a unique people. They were so kind and just remembering all the great things about Bloomington when I was there.
Yeah. So did Mark Cuban buy you a beer?
He did not buy. I didn't get a chance to talk to Mark, but seeing him down there, that was another thing. My seats, I got good seats because I had to see this myself. So I was down there and I see Mark Cuban standing there and, he's doing the interview before the game and after the game. And I see his smile and it's the same exact smile that's on everybody's faces in the stands. We are all just giddy alumni who are watching something that you couldn't feel better about.
Yeah, I think that is, so special. And then you look from where it came from to where it is today.
Yeah.
And so I think the question on everybody's mind, I'm not sure it's on my mind because I said it when we opened the show. We've done it, man. We've been there. We've done that. And I'm a Cub fan, so it doesn't always have to be the next day for me, right? But here's the question: is it sustainable?
How many years equals sustainable? I guess.
Yeah, no.
I think he's going to be hard to imagine. You see this quarterback he's got coming in. I mean, it seems to be very
Josh
good.
Hoover from TCU.
Yes, he seems to be very comfortable in these waters. You know what I mean? He seems to like he's been doing this his whole life, in the NIL and all the different variables he's got to deal with. It's like a fish to water with this guy. It's really where you see all these other blue-blooded programs who are kind of flailing a little bit. You see them. They don't know what to do. They don't have the comfort of their, 3-4 stars sitting on the bench waiting for, to get some playtime, feeling taken hostage by these guys. Those days are over, and you see them. They're flailing, and this guy is thriving. So
they all look tense to me. I mean, he doesn't look tense. He on the sideline, he looks to me like, well, here's my plan. Let me get my coaches to coach him up and get this done.
He's got that annoyed look, everyone.
Well, he's got that goofiness to him too. Hey, what are you going to do? I'm going to sit down and have a beer.
He's got free beer for life from these guys, by the way.
There you go. Oh, he did, really?
Yeah, they offered free beer for life.
Hey, last question from me.
What's up?
You were gone. Gary was here. You guys had a huge watch party here, right?
Gary is amazing. So
things went well on that Monday. Was that a good one?
I'm down there in Miami, and I'm looking on my phone, and I'm seeing him on the news, and this bar is packed, and it's everybody's dressed like everybody in the stands down in Miami rooting for IU, and boy, it's I couldn't have created in a laboratory a better guy to leave in charge here and maintain the vibe than that guy over there. So I'm so appreciative.
I was just curious to see if this building could handle that much red in Notre Dame country.
Yeah, for the previous game we had, we watched it down here, and I was down here with everybody, and I'm looking on the bar, and these are bar seats for Notre Dame games that are reserved. This entire room is reserved. I can tell you where everybody sits, every single chair, and it's reserved. It's been that way for many years. So seeing the same faces here wearing IU and cheering for IU, and instead of the Notre Dame fight song, we were playing the IU fight song. And, it was like I was in the Twilight Zone. I had to rub my eyes. This is so weird. This is just strange.
And the chairs that are stacked up in the back, they had to put them to work, didn't they?
Yeah.
Upstairs, downstairs, the new rooms you had.
Gary had them everywhere. So glad to have some more TVs here and more space for people to enjoy stuff like this. So
I got to ask you this question. Back in the day, and you may still have them, but back in the day, did you have the candy stripe sweats?
The sweatpants? No.
Yes.
I did not have the sweatpants.
Did not have the candy stripes.
2 of my roommates did, but I did not.
Oh, man. The candy stripes. So when I was coaching at Anderson, and the Anderson colors are red and green, right?
Mm-hmm.
And IU, Anderson, blah, blah, blah. I got to have the red and green candy stripe pants. Oh, they were so weak. They were so weak.
It looked like Christmas. And I'm from there.
No, Christmas 24/7.
It looked like Christmas every home game.
And he's so dang tall. He looks like a Christmas tree.
Yeah. Players came out in those warm-ups. I'm thinking, my God, oh no.
Okay, so when we talk about Fernando Mendoza, the whole family thing with him, I mean, he reminds me so much of Tim Tebow, except he's a better player than Tim Tebow. He's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, but his love of God and his personal Savior is amazing to me, and you would never see him do an interview without him talking about that.
Yeah, and I think that just lends to his authenticity. And as long as people are authentic, in my book, I'm with him, and he's definitely authentic. And you see his family unit. This is not a facade they're putting on here. These are who these people are, and it comes right through. And that authenticity is something that I look for in people for sure. So.
Yeah, and he talks about the fact that in the off season, 6 a.m. in the summer, he was up with his receivers working out at 6 a.m. in the summertime in Bloomington, and the dedication that these players had. A lot of these kids came over from JMU. Aiden Fisher, I mean, he'll play in the NFL on Sundays. Aiden Fisher will play.
No doubt.
Pons, he's 5'8". He'll play on Sundays.
He stood out on the field too, as small as he was. He was flying everywhere on that field. Like, I don't know if people have analyzed how well he played, but he was lights out.
Yeah, I thought he played every bit as good as a kid that was, his measurables would be bigger, but he's an NFL, he's a Sunday player next year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Pat Coogan, he's an NFL player.
For sure.
And now Josh Burnham, who, if he comes back to Notre Dame, he's going to have a great senior year because he's a really talented player. But when was the last time Notre Dame lost a really, really good player to IU? I mean, Pat Coogan for sure, but now Josh Burnham goes to IU.
Well, IU didn't steal Pat Coogan. They kind of just tossed him off, and we kind of picked him up. So,
Yeah.
We didn't poach anything on that. They, for whatever,
But it's free game though. It's free game.
Yeah, and this guy seems willing, and
I think all those kids now, it's the best recruiting tool forever, right?
for sure.
All these kids now are going to say, man, look at this Bloomington deal. I'm going to IU.
And I will tell you, the reason that Coach Sig had such a difficult time getting the big job, the big Division I job, is he was told by multiple programs that, listen, you're old, you're white, and we don't really know how you're going to connect to these kids. And now look at this. That's the beauty of this, how authentic he's been. The messenger does not matter if the message is good, and his message is good. He knows what he's talking about. So there's your connection right there.
Yeah, I'm so happy. The longer, I'm a Notre Dame guy, but the longer it went, and the more build up it got, and the more stories that came out about, Coach Signetti and what was going on down in Bloomington, the more I personally got involved with it. And then at the end, if someone would have said, hey, I got a ticket for $3,000, Ron, you want to go? I'd have said, where do I write the check to?
For sure.
Because I would have gone.
For sure.
Because, and you can call that drinking the Kool-Aid or whatever you want to call it. I fell into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How could you not? You watch this guys and you see them from the beginning of the year, and you just see how they've come together, and, they genuinely want to fight for each other. And Mendoza comes on and, he's all shucks, and he's also a big, tall kid who's really strong. You should have seen him out there. He runs like a baby giraffe, but he somehow, the desire is there. And Coach Sig has these kids believing in him. So
yeah, and there's no reason why he's not the number one pick in the draft.
I saw Tom Brady out there. I saw Mark Davis, and they're both, they came there to watch him for sure.
Yeah. The Raiders, and that's the hard thing about it, because he's going to go to a team that's not ready to win.
Yeah, but now you got
Caleb
like
Williams,
Brady. Say what you want. Like Brady,
he's going to get it done.
He doesn't seem to be one who takes no for an answer.
No, exactly. And Caleb Williams took 68 sacks. But he didn't take 68 sacks this year. He took 24 once they got a coach in there.
Exactly right.
Hey, listen, man, first of all, we can't thank you enough for letting us come into your house here and host this show. It's just a wonderful place, and the things that you do for us. So thank you for that. And then thanks for coming on and spending some time and telling your story about what you got done in Miami, man.
Yeah.
Did you see Miami Vice?
Did I see that?
Did you see Tubbs and Don Johnson?
I did not see Tubbs.
Okay,
I was
man.
looking for the white Testarossa, but I didn't see it.
Yeah. All right, that's the great Joe Matiga.
I appreciate you guys. No, I appreciate having you guys here, and we love having you here. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
That is the great Joe Matiga. And why don't you take us to break, Scott? We'll do a commercial, and then we will bring Health Markets.
Thanks.
The great Health Markets president, Tony Letcher, in here.
Looking to get your driver's license? Frick's Driving School in Mishawaka makes it easy with the Indiana State Driving Exam in-house for just $65. No formal driver's education is required. If you're 16 years and 270 days old, which is like 9 months, and have held an Indiana Learner's Permit for at least 180 days, which is like 6 months, you're eligible. Frick's provides the vehicle. All you need to do is bring a ride to and from the office. The exam only takes about 20 minutes, and you can walk out with your official Indiana driver's license. To schedule, call 574-256-0650 or visit fricksdrivered.com.
Finding private health insurance can be stressful. What if it didn't have to be? I'm Tony Letcher, licensed insurance agent. I prefer to personally meet with my clients so I can get a better understanding of your needs and budget. I can even review your current coverage. I don't want you to be my client today. I want you to be my client forever. Call Tony Letcher today to schedule your free consultation or visit tletcher.com.
Han Funeral Homes, located at 505 West 8th Street in Mishawaka, continues a proud tradition built on one promise of family serving families. With deep roots in the community, Han Funeral Homes offers traditional burial, cremation services, and now pet cremation options, providing compassionate care for every member of the family. Families in Mishawaka have long trusted Hans to guide them with dignity, understanding, and personal attention through life's most difficult moments. For more information, visit them online at hanfuneralhomes.com or call 574-255-1474. Han Funeral Homes, a family serving families. Thinking about retirement, Harbor Group Planned Wealth helps you answer the big questions like when to draw Social Security, how to manage investment risk, and what health insurance might cost. Wondering if you can earn part-time income after 62 without losing benefits, or if retiring could actually feel like getting a raise. They've got answers and a plan to guide you. Call the Harbor Group at 765-393-1074 or visit harborgroup.com. That's harborgroup.com. Back with more Coach's Corner with Heck and King. Thanks as always to the Black Sedan Band for the music coming in and out of these breaks. If you're interested in booking them, they do travel. Head on over to blacksedanband.com and give a special shout out to their drummer, who happens to be Heck's brother. And now, here's more Heck and King.
Yeah, we are back here, man, at Corey's Irish Pub. Are you kidding me? Thursday night, it's fixing to be 0 degrees tomorrow. Cold. I'm staying in the crib with my beautiful wife, Monica, a couple of dogs. Jack is in Indy. Aaron's got his own place, so me and Monica will warm up in the crib. But I'll tell you what'll be on my mind. The IU Crimson football program.
I'm going to hit the rewind button. You two are going to be in the. She's going to infringe on your TV day.
No, she ain't. We got 2 TVs.
Okay, I was curious because I know you have your TV schedule and it's pretty strict.
It's
Bonanza.
And she's
strict.
like
if Sweet Monica's there, she gets what she wants, man.
Good story.
We have
Gotta make sure Heck can watch his reruns of MASH.
We have a great Tony Letcher here, man. And we're sporting his Health Markets, man.
That's right.
Shirts. He's been our sponsor with us, I think, since we got started. But the big thing about Tony Letcher, and you can tell, he's got his IU gear on. Just a huge Indiana University fan. Talk about how you got started being an IU football fan, IU basketball fan, because you didn't go to IU, did you?
I did not.
So talk about how that whole thing transformed itself.
So I used to watch the great Bobby Knight, and I just loved Bobby Knight. You know, they played fundamental basketball, and I just kind of fell in love with him. And the basketball team was really good at that time. And one thing led to another. Then I started watching football because I just became a fan.
Do you remember? I started remembering this as a correlation. Middle 90s, when IU came to South Bend to play Notre Dame, I think McLeod was coach.
Yep.
And how much red was in that building for the basketball game when Knight came to town? I was there.
Right.
And I didn't wear red. I just wore, went in there neutral.
You wore your Health Markets shirt.
I could have.
I used to go to those games because my mom worked at Notre Dame, and I'd buy that 4-game package.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was the Notre Dame IU game.
That Notre Dame IU game, there was so much red in the Joyce Center. And it was one of those, we can't do this again.
Right.
But it was all these Notre Dame people that went to IU.
Right.
IU comes to town, they pulled the red out. Kind of like last year's football game, if you think about it.
Right.
How much red showed up. Because all of a sudden these people go, which one do I wear?
Right.
Well, I mean, IU travels well. Their alumni base is huge. Whether it's in Chicago, whether it's in Indianapolis,
right,
and they travel really well. And when whoever you're rooting for, when you're winning, it just doubles and triples all of that.
Oh,
but
for sure.
But from guys like yourself. I mean, you've been with Indiana, win or lose, right?
Oh, for sure. The problem is now it's hard to get football tickets. You used to be able to get tickets for any game.
Yeah, they were giving. Well, Joe said they used to give them away.
They did.
They bring them to the dorm and hand them out.
They did.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll find a way to get tickets, man. So here, I mean, I want to go over this here with you because I know, and I watched the championship game with you, and I know you're a great fan of Coach Signetti. and everything that he's been able to do. And if you're a fan of Curt Cignetti, then you got to be a fan of Scott Dolson, the athletic director.
Correct.
Because Scott Dolson got the whole ball rolling. Scott Dolson got him in. Scott Dolson talked to him. Scott Dolson had a vision of what he wanted his new football coach to be like.
Right.
And can you remember back to those conversations when they were talking about how he wanted his new football coach to be, or who he wanted him to be?
Well, I think the biggest thing was just getting a coach in there that believed they could win.
You got to put because
Somebody that,
there's 1,000 people
Yeah.
on here and they
So-
want to listen to you.
So I think the biggest thing was he wanted somebody that actually thought he could win. And that's the first thing Sig said is, you give me average, resources, we're going to win here. And he said that was one thing that reminded him of Coach Knight. That's something Coach Knight said when he brought him from Army is, hey, average resources, we will win at IU. And we know that story, how that ended.
Yeah, we do. And there was an article from Pat Knight, who's now the head coach at Marion University in Indianapolis. And he made a comment how his dad would be so proud and be over the moon about everything that was going on here.
Right.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool. But let's look, and I don't even know if you remember any of these guys, but Coach Cignetti is 27-2 in 2 years.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Unprecedented, right?
Yeah.
Unprecedented, whether it's at Alabama, whether it's at Southern Cal.
Right.
Unprecedented, 27-2.
Well, if any team goes 16-0, I mean, that's so hard to do in college football.
Yeah, it's never been
Doesn't
done.
matter who
has
you
it?
are.
3 years earlier, they were 3-9.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yale did it in like 1896.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was born in the 80s. Were you?
No, not yet.
The Dead Sea was still sick.
The Dead Sea was still sick, and Moby Dick was a minnow.
Yeah, that's
All right, so
there you go, Scott Touche.
So 7 years before Curt Cignetti, Tom Allen was the head coach. And now remember this figure, 27 wins in 2 years.
Right.
In 7 years, Tom Allen had 33 wins. In 6 years before that, Kevin Wilson, who came from Oklahoma, kind of a grumpy dude. Everybody said he was all this in a bag of chips. In 6 years, he had 26 wins. Before him was a great guy, Billy Lynch.
Yep.
Anybody who didn't like Billy Lynch just didn't know.
Well, we were teammates at Butler.
I know you were. He was a quarterback
he
at Butler.
He tolerated me.
And you were a quarterback at Butler.
3 years in the quarterback room with him.
Yeah, and he
great guy.
He was a great guy. When Terry Hepner died,
Right.
then Billy Lynch got the job.
Right.
So Billy's there for 4 years.
And Hep was probably one of the last coaches that IU loves Hep.
Yeah.
That's why they have Hep's Rock.
Yeah, they did love him.
He was a great guy. He was starting to turn the program and then he got sick.
Yeah, that was his rock. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
He had only been there 2 years.
Right.
And in 2 years, he had 9 wins.
Right.
And Jerry DiNardo was there for 3 years. And in 3 years, Jerry DiNardo had 8 wins.
Right.
Okay.
And he had come from LSU, maybe.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Cam Cameron came from the NFL.
Yep.
He was there for 5 years. And this is what Cam Cameron said. One of my friends was an assistant coach for Cam Cameron. And in the first staff meeting they had, Cam Cameron brought them all in. He was on the grease board. He said he put a dot on the grease board with a black magic marker. He just put a dot. And he said, this is how much knowledge you guys have in football. And then he took the magic marker and made a huge circle. And he said, this is how much knowledge I have.
Right.
Just everything about Cam Cameron. He was very difficult to work for. But he spent 5 years there. And he had a total of 18 wins.
Right.
In 5 years. And then before Cam Cameron was Big Bill Mallory, who was there for 13 years and had 68 wins and had been to some bowl games. But ever since Bill Mallory, and then 40 years, it's been 40 years of nothing, basically. And then Coach Sig comes.
Right.
And he makes the comment, just Google me.
Right.
What did you think when you heard that comment? Did you Google him?
Oh, I did. And I loved it. I loved it when he was at the basketball game and he said, Ohio State sucks. Purdue sucks. Michigan sucks. Because I'm like, okay, I like this guy.
But things I've heard, him say behind the scenes it was so apathetic. He wanted to see if those people were dead or just on life
Right.
support.
Right.
And he said, I figured out they were on life support.
Right.
They just needed somebody to throw them some energy to get things going.
And that's what they lacked. They lacked confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I watched when Allen was there, and there was a lot of games they were in, and they would lose it in the fourth quarter. I watched the Ohio State game one time, and they were back and forth, and it was a close game, and I'm like, wow, they might have a chance. And then they would always fall apart in the fourth quarter and lose by 2 or 3 scores. And I'm like, they're right there. They're right there. They just don't have any confidence in themselves.
Yeah, so
they expect to lose.
All right, so is it confidence, or was it the talent in the players that he was able to bring in too?
I think they've always had talent. They've had some good players come out of IU. We're talking about Gungule, and Penix was there at one time, and
Yeah, why did he ever leave?
he kept getting hurt because they had no offensive line.
Yeah.
Well, and we've heard
Can't
that.
forget my favorite IU guy ever, Xander Diamant.
I mean, who might that be? The manager? Or no, he was a quarterback, wasn't he, for a minute?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was electric.
Yeah. So
Also, never forget when Gunnar Kiel was committed there for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, for a day. But so one of the things that I think was huge was he brought, 13 or 14
Right.
players with him from James Madison.
Right.
They knew who
They knew how to
Kurt
win.
Cignetti was.
They knew how to win.
They knew how to win. They knew what he demanded.
Correct.
Their work ethic just jumped off the charts from what Tom Allen. And I'm not saying
Right.
Tom Allen was a bad coach, but every coach demands a different.
Right.
Their demands are different.
And it wasn't necessarily they were starters or going to be stars, but they were exactly what you just said.
Correct.
They knew the work habit. They were going to be examples in the weight room for off-season workouts. They were
Correct.
going to be the examples. Here's what he expects.
Right.
And if you want to be successful, if you want to stay here, here's how it's going to have to be done.
Yeah.
Because think how many guys left.
Oh, a
A
lot.
lot. Because they didn't want
Right.
any part of it. A lot of them left, and a lot of them were told
Right.
bye-bye.
Yeah, no, I mean it's called addition by subtraction.
Correct.
And then you bring guys like his first year he brought O'Rourke, the quarterback, in.
Who was actually talked about the Heisman until he got hurt.
Yeah, just had a great year.
Yeah, he had a great year. Well, I
And
didn't know too that his defensive coordinator at JMU is the defensive coordinator at Miami.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was Brian Haynes.
No, not Brian Haynes.
Oh,
His JMU defensive coordinator is at Miami now.
Oh, yeah,
We
yeah.
played in the national championship.
They
Yes.
played against each other.
Yeah.
yeah. And then he brings Aiden Fisher in, who
Right.
he's an NFL player.
Right.
And how
Corey Heatherman.
there's so many guys that are like that come from the smaller programs, but they're NFL players.
Right. I mean, look at Charlie Becker. He didn't even play half the year. He comes in to fill in because they get some injuries, makes the play.
Then he makes the
he
play
makes
of the
the
game.
play against Penn State to get him a chance to get a touchdown, and then he makes 3 or 4 plays when we're watching the game on Monday night.
I mean,
this guy nobody knew who he was.
Those
4 or 5
back
months ago.
shoulder passes
Well, I
he
was
caught in
gonna
the
say
fourth.
that.
Yeah.
He's a king of back
quarter.
shoulders.
He went. They just threw it, and he just went and got it.
He's a nobody, like I said 6 months ago.
Yeah, no, I think there's so much to be said for that, for getting kids to buy in.
Right.
And in my coaching career, and I know in your coaching career, you've been in those deals where some of your favorite years where you didn't have maybe a lot of the big name kids coming back, but you had kids that bought in, and they might not have been as talented, but they were fun to coach.
Right. And we've talked. That's one of the things Joe and I talked about. You can tell who your good coaches are when they talk about, at the end of their career, some of their favorite teams weren't their 20-2 teams in basketball. They were their 50-50 teams, their
Right.
12-8s, because those kids wanted to play. They might not have, had the success, but they were willing to buy in,
Right.
and they were teachable, they were coachable, and you enjoyed going to practice every day.
Right.
And I think that's what IU has done. Those kids enjoy working hard.
Right. I remember I was watching one of the reporters from ESPN. It was like over the weekend sometime, and she said she left one of the practices, and she's like, I've never seen a practice end the way it did at IU, to where all the players are hugging each other. And, I love you, man. This is one of our last practices.
Getting all sentimental.
I mean, it's not about them.
No, they
It's about
truly
the
care
team.
for each
It's
other.
about the team. They're not worried about their next NIL deal or how many catches they're going to have, or what plays they're going to make. They're just like, hey, man, I love you. I'm glad we're part of this team. it's been a good year and let's finish it strong. You know,
Okay, so you just hit upon what my next comment or question is to you. Let's finish it strong.
Right.
So where does IU go from here now?
Oh.
Is this sustainable?
Oh, so it's funny because I was just talking about that over by the bar, and at IU, if you make a bowl game every year,
You want a beer?
no, I have one of those over there. But for IU fans, we don't have to win championships every year. We're not LSU. We're not Alabama. We're not Notre Dame.
Just get to a bowl game.
If we get to a bowl game and we finish above 500, Sig will go down as the best coach in history, even though he will already. We're used to 2, 3, 4 wins. That's why when you look at 9 wins in 2 years, that was a good 2 years back in the day. Wow, we won 9 games.
Yeah.
We won 4 or 5. Wow, we're right there.
And see, Sig wants you to change your attitude.
Right.
He doesn't want fans thinking like that. He
Correct.
wants fans right now. I can just hear him. We're going to the finals next year too.
Oh,
That's
I agree.
that's going to be their goal. When he starts talking about next year with the newest team, I would just bet one of the goals is we're going back.
oh, for sure.
We're
without
going
a doubt.
back.
Well, and I think a realistic goal would be to say we're going back to the college football playoffs.
Playoffs, yeah.
Correct.
Playoffs.
Yeah, I don't see them going anywhere. They have another great quarterback coming in from TCU, which is unfortunately why Mendoza's brother transferred to Georgia Tech.
Sure.
Sure.
But
Sure, and it's the world of college football
It
to
is.
do that now.
it is.
I mean, Albert came here. He had a great year with Fernando. They win the national championship, and they bring in Josh Hoover from TCU. He's sitting back and saying, "Hey, wait a minute, Georgia Tech wants me. I don't have to live in the shadows of my brother Fernando.
Right.
I can go and get paid handsomely at
Right.
Georgia Tech, and let Josh Hoover come in here and
Right.
have the reins."
Well, and if you think about it, he was in a great situation this year as a backup
Correct.
because think how many blowout games they had.
Right.
Think how much playing time he really
And that's
got.
why Fernando's numbers weren't as great as they could have been.
Yeah.
Because he didn't finish half the games.
Because he, a younger brother, basically got his audition
Right.
for next year,
Correct.
this year.
Right.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if Fernando didn't finish games. His numbers to me and
they're
his
still good.
his play to me is as good as a quarterback as I've seen. I've often compared the way he thinks, the way he talks, the way he expresses himself as a Tim Tebow type of guy.
Right.
But
With
make no
more
mistake
talent.
about it, he is a much better quarterback than
Oh,
Tim Tebow, and
much better.
I think he will be a very, very successful
You'll be watching him
quarterback
on
in the
Sundays for,
NFL.
I think, a very long time.
Now, here, let me ask you this. Think about this. Since after the Ohio State game, then you have the Heisman was after
Right.
Ohio State.
Right.
So they had defeated Ohio State. The following weekend, he's named the Heisman Trophy winner.
Right.
Think how he got better in
Oh.
December.
He's gotten better every week.
Exactly.
When you watch their first 3 or 4 games when they were playing some pretty rough teams,
We
he
like to call them
struggled.
tomato cans.
Tomato cans.
When they were playing tomato cans.
He struggled a little bit, but I think a lot of that is just learning the system, learning,
Right.
there's a lot of timing that goes in, which is also, I think, why it's good to play some
Tomato cans.
the first 2 or 3 games, because it kind of gets your guys a chance to get on the same page, especially with all these transfers too.
Well, and we talked back in August and September. Our discussion was with Notre Dame starting off
Right.
0-2, and then we look at IU, and IU was playing the tomato cans.
right.
So
right.
in retrospect, would it have done CJ Carr? Would it have done
Oh, for sure. Look at CJ
some
Carr
of the
now.
younger players on that team better to open up against a couple tomato cans? But in respect, then they had the best running game in the country with Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. So I think they thought that in spite of CJ Carr, we'll go in and they lost those 2 games by 4 points. So it's not like we should be second guessing
Right.
what they did. But
Right.
I agree 100% what you said.
I mean, if they play Miami 7 games later, do they beat them?
Yeah. What
don't know.
What happens if they open?
We don't know.
Yeah. What happens if they open with Syracuse and Stanford?
Right.
And
Well,
they
they're
have
probably
Miami
2-0.
and have
I would
Miami.
hope they'd be 2-0.
Yeah,
but
and,
they should
and
be.
have Miami and A&M somewhere
Right.
back in the middle of the schedule someplace. Who
Pro-
knows? We don't
problem
know,
is-
and we won't know.
Right. I don't think Miami and A&M want to play Game 7. They want to play the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Because of their other schedule.
Yeah, 100%. The SEC, the whole thing.
And
The
that's
whole
their
thing.
problem.
So I think in this day and age of NIL, of transfer portal, of being able to transfer, not having to sit out, I do think it's sustainable to keep IU at a certain level.
Correct.
At a certain level now of being able to be competitive in the Big Ten. I mean, there's going to be times in the Big Ten where Michigan I think Kyle Whittingham's a really good coach, and I think he will coach Michigan up.
Right.
I think Ryan Day has the best talent probably of anybody in the country. It's just too bad he has to call plays.
Right.
But will IU be able to be up there in that upper echelon in the Big Ten?
Yeah.
I don't
would
know
tell
why
you
not.
without a doubt, and this is why. No 5 stars.
But I believe this.
So when IU starts getting some,
I
more
believe they're going
talented-
to get 5 stars.
They will, especially out of high school. So when they actually start getting some talent and get some depth, if they can do it with no 5 stars and very few 4 stars, there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to be there for many, many years.
Well, let's face it.
A lot of it's quarterback play,
The,
though.
the
I
best,
think it's quarterback play too.
yeah,
Yeah.
the best wide receiver on the field last week was a freshman
Right.
from Miami, who actually was a senior in high school. So
Right.
you remember, I can't remember his name,
Right.
but they kept talking about
Tony,
he actually, he moved up. They said he should be getting ready for his high school prom right now.
He was the youngest.
Malachi Tony.
Malachi Tony, he had
Yeah.
9 or 10 receptions and
Oh, yeah.
100+ yards in receptions, and
Right.
most of that was yards after catch.
Right. Well, the year before, Alabama had the receiver.
That's a good point.
That was same thing. And then this year, he disappeared. I mean, he
Ryan
hardly heard his
Williams.
name, Ryan Williams.
Yeah.
He just, so
One hit wonder. Who knows?
We don't know. We'll see what happens next year.
That's
you
right.
know? But that's why, once again, you always hear that, production over potential.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. Talk about health markets for a minute.
Yep.
I mean, we're up here. So like Pat and I are your marketing team. I don't know if you view us like that.
I do.
Every
That's
Thursday
why
night.
That's why you're wearing those now.
Every Thursday night, we talk about health markets and how great Tony Letcher is. We're your marketing team.
You are.
You got about a minute to
Yep.
plug health markets.
Well, obviously open enrollment's over. So if you have any questions with your plan or coverages, or you're confused, or you just want somebody to talk to,
You got
give us a
something
call.
because they were told this was the best thing for them. Now they need to
Right.
use it.
You
How
went
do I
online,
use
you
it?
bought something online or over the phone, and you go, "Uh-oh, what did I do?
Mhm.
This isn't what I thought it was," or "I've been sold on a dream that doesn't exist." Give me a call. Doesn't cost you anything.
Fair enough.
No, and
Look at how happy these two guys are.
well, no, we're client. We're
And you are,
clients.
you're clients.
We're
Sure.
clients of health markets.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you've done wonders for me. You've done one. I mean, we're still alive,
Right.
right?
The one thing we've had interesting situations with the Medicare and the dental or dentist bills.
Right.
See, we also have other insurance.
Right.
Trying to explain to the dentist people, the billing people, that Medicare is the secondary
Right.
because and your private insurance is your
Right.
primary, and they're going, no, Medicare's for no, it's not.
Right.
Said your private insurance is first,
Right.
He's not just another pretty face, is he?
isn't it?
Listen to him.
Oh, no.
No,
No, I mean, you
The
got any
all-
openings at the? I mean, you got any openings?
all I'm doing is repeating what he told me.
He's the best, man. He's the
I'm
best.
just repeating what he told me. But I mean, that's things that here we are. The businesses, they don't know.
No. And they have so much turnaround now at the front desk.
Mm-hmm. They don't know.
They have no idea.
Well, I'm so happy that I got to spend that time with you watching that game and going through this little bit of a run with you because I genuinely saw how happy you were
Right.
for the program that you root for, and I know that there are so many people like you
Right.
that they don't have to be from Bloomington. They don't have to have gone to IU. They just are happy to see IU
Right.
have success in the upper echelon.
Well, I was happy to watch you every time there's a big play. Oh, the Bears need that guy. Oh, the Bears need that guy. Oh, man. And I was like, Ron,
what's his
they
name?
don't get that many draft picks.
He's
No,
recruiting.
I mean, what's his name? Is he a senior, Tony? Is he a senior?
He'd ask me because he got me a nice sheet with all the players.
Because
and the
Tony
positions, and
had the card. I got him a
I
card.
got the card. So every big play, oh, who's that guy? What year?
What's
is
his
he?
number?
Oh, man,
How
the
big
Bears
is he?
need him.
Yeah. Well, no, you're a Bear. Stop. You're
I
a Bear
am.
guy too.
I think I watched it
I
by
am.
myself. I didn't have to deal with that. I could answer my own
I
questions.
wasn't thinking about the Bears that day. I was
I
thinking
know
about
you
IU
weren't.
winning. It was a good game, though.
No, but it goes hand in
And
hand
they
with
earned
me
it.
because success I mean, success travels.
Oh, for sure.
It does travel. And they bring Kurt Signetti in. The Bears bring Ben Johnson in.
Oh, yeah. Coaching's huge.
And there's no excuse. There's no
Right.
excuse for, for bad coaching. And when you got bad coaching, you got to bounce them.
Well, Ben's the same thing. He had to change the mindset.
Yeah, the culture.
Right?
Well,
Culture.
I was going to say, I'm so happy that IU won.
Right.
Because if you think about it, you had a wounded animal coming in here from the night before.
Trust me, we had a whole conversation about that. I said, I don't know if I can handle the Bears losing an IU in the same back-to-back nights.
You had a good way to put it.
You had a wounded animal.
I was a bad wounded animal.
He may be in bed still if IU would have lost.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord. With covers pulled over his head.
Hey, listen, man, thanks for coming in. We got a couple other people on, and IU people. A friend of ours from Anderson, who's a big IU guy, Doug Zook, he's on. So I want to thank you for coming in and spending a few minutes with us, man.
Always. Anytime, buddy.
All right, man.
Sounds good. Thanks.
That is the great Tony Letcher, the health markets guy who takes care of us. Big IU fan, big Bear fan, small White Sox fan. Big White Sox fan.
Very small.
I shut him off. Now you're asking him questions about the
very
White
small
Sox,
Cubs
and I
fan.
muted him.
All right. So, Scott, why don't you take us to a break, and we'll get on with Zookie here in a minute.
Thinking about retirement, Harbor Group Planned Wealth helps you answer the big questions like when to draw Social Security, how to manage investment risk, and what health insurance might cost. Wondering if you can earn part-time income after 62 without losing benefits, or if retiring could actually feel like getting a raise. They've got answers and a plan to guide you. Call the Harbor Group at 765-393-1074 or visit harborgroup.com. That's harborgroup.com. Han Funeral Homes, located at 505 West 8th Street in Mishawaka, continues a proud tradition built on one promise of family serving families. With deep roots in the community, Han Funeral Homes offers traditional burial, cremation services, and now pet cremation options, providing compassionate care for every member of the family. Families in Mishawaka have long trusted Hans to guide them with dignity, understanding, and personal attention through life's most difficult moments. For more information, visit them online at hanfuneralhomes.com or call 574-255-1474. Han Funeral Homes, a family serving families.
Medicare plans can be confusing, but they don't have to be. I'm Tony Letcher, licensed insurance agent. I can help you compare your options because I'm appointed with many nationally recognized carriers. With my help, you can find the coverage that fits your needs and budget. I don't want you to be my client today. I want you to be my client forever. Call Tony Letcher today to schedule your free consultation or visit tletcher.com.
Looking to hit the road with confidence? Frick's Driving School in Mishawaka has been helping drivers of all ages gain the skills they need for a lifetime of safe driving. With experienced, patient instructors, including our very own Pat King, and flexible scheduling options, Frick's makes learning to drive easy and stress-free. Whether you're a first-time driver or need a refresher like our own Ron Hecklinski, Frick's has you covered. Plus, for just $65, they offer the state driving exam in-house. No need to go anywhere else. Visit fricksdrivered.com or you can call 574-256-0650 to get started today. Back again with more Coach's Corner. Shout out, as always, to the Black Sedan Band, now in their... Well, they've been with us since the start. We'll just say that. They do travel, so if you're interested in booking a great cover band, go to blacksedanband.com, or you can check them out on YouTube after you're done watching us, of course. Now here's more Heck and King.
Yeah, and we are back, and I believe we have the great Chris Potts on, man. Chris, what's going on?
Hey, not too much. How are you guys doing?
We are doing good, and I am so happy that you got to go to Miami and see the national championship game.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We actually got to go to Atlanta also and see the Peach Bowl. So been very fortunate, and Indiana didn't disappoint at either location. And I want to tell you something I know you already are aware of, and that is Indiana traveled well. I mean, I heard that at Pasadena, the vast majority of the fans were Indiana fans. And I can testify to you that in Georgia, it was one-sided as could be. And down in Miami, I think, although some people might say 50-50, I think it was probably more 60-40 Indiana over Miami fans.
Did your friends get to go down with you too? Your group that always hangs out and watches IU play, whether it's either basketball or football, or did you and Sherry just go down?
I got 4 tickets, so I brought Mike and Sherry and my son-in-law Jay, and but yeah, I did. I was able to meet up with a whole lot of friends that were down there. Most IU guys, none of the local guys that you're aware of, Ron, but a lot of guys that I knew, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you and I were neighbors, and I'm there for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years with you. And it was the same conversation, the springtime, maybe late summer. Hey, how many wins do you think, the Hoosiers are going to get this year? We would go through the schedule. You would tell me, you'd say, I don't know, maybe 8-4. Maybe 8-4 sounds like a good year for us, or maybe 9-3, or maybe 7-5. But did you ever envision what was about to transpire before it transpired in these last 2 years with Coach Cignetti?
No, not at all, Ron. And you and I have had those conversations. Actually, one of the funny things that we talked about down in Miami was that we asked everybody in the group, what was your best expectation for Indiana football in your lifetime? And I told them, and many people agree, that I thought, hey, if we ever get back to the Rose Bowl, that's the pinnacle. That's as good as it gets. I mean, we never even imagined the possibility of being 16-0 and being the national champions.
Yeah, and then I mean, last year they played just really, really well. Nobody really knows what to expect from Coach Cignetti. And they come up to South Bend, they get to the college football playoffs, they play Notre Dame. If not for that quick interception, I think that Notre Dame game, might have either had a different outcome or might have been a lot closer. But I thought they were really representative of what they did in that Notre Dame game in their first year, right?
Well, no question. I mean, Notre Dame is an excellent team. And by the way, they should have been in the playoffs this year. I thought that was politics at the worst level possible. I didn't think anything was worse than national politics anymore. The politicking behind who gets to go and who has to stay home for the playoffs is absolutely abysmal. It's shameful. And I saw one of the lines in Las Vegas after the last game of the season had been played, but before the playoffs teams were announced, and Notre Dame was listed as having the 4th best chance to win the title. The 4th best chance, and they don't even get invited because of some of this garbage that went on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and Notre Dame, I mean, let's be fair to Notre Dame. They elect not to play a couple of tomato cans early. They play 2 really good teams, Miami and Texas A&M. They lose by 4, and then they know to have any chance they got to run the table. And I never felt that it was between them and Miami, because and I don't know, those little polls that they were doing like the last 4 or 5 weeks, those obviously meant nothing. Because when Ohio State lost, they dropped Ohio State. When Indiana beat Ohio State, they dropped Ohio State a couple places in the polls. When BYU lost, they dropped BYU out completely. But when Alabama lost, they never dropped Alabama an inch. And that was Alabama's 3rd loss. And to me, it was always about Alabama or Miami, not Miami and Notre Dame. But obviously, the committee never saw it that way.
Well, it's worse than that, in my opinion, Ron. I mean, everything you said is accurate, but the real issue in my mind was, as you said a moment ago, the 3 polls that came out, the listings of the teams from the committee, the 3 prior to the final one, all had Notre Dame ahead of Alabama, ahead of Miami, in a position where they were going to get a spot. And then suddenly, magically, even though Notre Dame didn't play, and even though Miami didn't play, and Alabama did play, but they lost, somehow Miami and Alabama both jump over Notre Dame. I mean, that just smells bad from the start, and it was a shameful experience. I think the NCAA has a black eye as a result of that, and I hope they change that system completely.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting some applause in Corby's here for that statement, to be honest with you now. But going back now to Kurt Cignetti, I remember you telling me, man, Scott Dolson has found his guy. You have a great relationship with Scott Dolson, and I had never heard of Kurt Cignetti. And you telling me that they found their guy, they had a bunch of things that they were looking for, and he checked every box.
Yeah, and listen, I didn't have any inside information on that. I didn't know who Kurt Cignetti was either. Scott tells me his methods. I mean, he's never once asked me for advice, and thank goodness for that, because Indiana seems to be doing better without any help from me. But he has a method for picking coaches, and a lot of the coaches he's chosen are doing very well. But of course, nobody can match the success of Cignetti. You and I've talked about it before. The methodology that he utilizes, he develops standards and he maintains discipline and demands that everybody meet those standards. And if you don't meet those standards, you're not going to play for Kurt Cignetti. And he brought those same standards. Sure, there's arguments that, guys had a chip on their shoulder because they had been overlooked. And you can ride that rail for a while if you want to. But the bottom line is his kids performed with ruthless efficiency throughout the entire season.
I don't think there's any question about that. And when you look at, a lot of people are making a lot out of this, that the average age of the Indiana Hoosiers players this year were between 23 and 24 years old. The youngest team in the NFL was the Green Bay Packers, just a shade under 25 years old. So he had older kids. He had kids that were mature. He had kids that bought into a system. In a normal scenario, let's say 10 years ago, when there was no NIL, when there was no transfer portal, when you had to sit out if you transferred, could that have been pulled off like this was pulled off?
I don't think that's even possible. I mean, the only thing that you could bring recruits into Indiana on was on a dream. I mean, you couldn't show results on the field. You couldn't say, hey, look, we were 10-2 last year. We were just a couple players away from making it to the championship game. What you had to do is try to convince them that you had a plan. And without transfer portal and without the NIL, you're not going to get enough high school talent to come to Indiana and be patient enough to wait until they could develop something. Take a look. You guys are really intelligent especially when it comes to the issue of sports and recruiting. You've all had to live through that nightmare of recruiting. Think about the position Indiana, as perennial losers in football, has to deal with when you've got Notre Dame in the same state, you've got Ohio State and Michigan, and you've got, nearby, you've got Penn State, Wisconsin, Iowa, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you're a kid with a lot of talent in Indiana isn't only not going to be your first choice, it probably isn't your second, third, or fourth choice either. So if you're just relying on high school recruiting, you have no chance at Indiana. So this made all the difference in the world.
And that's exactly when you look at the records. Tom Allen, 7, Kurt Cignetti, 2 years, 27 wins. Tom Allen, 7 years, 33 wins. Kevin Wilson, 6 years, 26 wins. Billy Lynch, the greatest guy in America. I love Billy Lynch.
Yep.
4 years, 19 wins. Terry Hepner had some things going. And he had 9 wins in 2 years, but got sick. But he had some momentum, I think, going. But it still would have been with recruiting young kids. Jerry DiNardo, 3 years, 8 wins. Cam Cameron, who thought he invented football, Cam Cameron, 5 years, 18 wins.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the days that we all remember, Big Bill Mallory, right?
Yeah,
13
sure.
years, 68 wins. But I think the stars, everything aligned correctly. And then you got to be successful with a quarterback. You got to have a quarterback. And when he brought O'Rourke in, and then when he brought Fernando in, I thought obviously those are the missing pieces, but he's got the linemen to protect him. Then everything aligned, and it was just a matter of everything falling in place.
Well, I mean, and that didn't happen by accident. You know that this is a guy who was a talent evaluator for Nick Saban at Alabama. So Cignetti learned from the best. He had a lot of experience at different. He was a quarterbacks coach at NC State when Phillip Rivers was the quarterback there. And so he learned about developing quarterbacks early on. And I think, again, both of you guys have the advantage over many others in that you were coaches for a long time and you understand how important a quarterback is. In basketball, your point guard is your quarterback, and you got to have your quarterback making good decisions. If that point guard has 6 or 7 turnovers, then it's a heck of a lot harder to be competitive in a basketball game. And so Cignetti has understood that the linchpin, the keystone to the entire success of a football team starts with a good quarterback. And then he'll develop them. He's had enough years, and you're right about Rourke and Mendoza, and there are actually others before him. Virtually every quarterback that he's tutored in the last 8 years has either been the conference player of the year or first or second team quarterback in that particular league. So it isn't a wave of a magic wand that makes them better, and it isn't just luck and circumstance. Cignetti teaches them the fundamentals the way that they ought to be taught. Now, it'll be very interesting to see how Rourke, who's now healthy, does in the NFL, and it'll be interesting to see Mendoza. See if it's just Curt Cignetti that's developing them, or whether they truly have the innate talent to be effective and productive at the next level.
Well, a lot of that too will depend on what kind of line and supporting cast they have there at the pro level. That's always one of the worst things that can happen is, the worst teams pick these quote good quarterbacks and throw them to the wolves, just like what the Bears have gone through. It took them 2 years to find people, and you still always remember going back to Andrew Luck with the Colts. They beat the heck out of him, and he finally said, "I've had enough. I quit."
That's a great point. And the opposite end of that spectrum.
I'm quitting. Here's the difference.
You see how diplomatic I am.
No, I ain't never said I quit. I mean, I don't know, Chris. Chris has been a great athlete his whole life. I could have got the crap beat out of me. I ain't never said I quit. Well, as a matter of fact, that just pissed me off more, right? Right, Chris?
Well, those are the intangibles that you don't know about.
You're right.
Well, and you're exactly right. I mean, there's an intestinal fortitude aspect of this too, and there's the desire to compete. Everybody likes to think of Michael Jordan as perhaps the best ever in basketball. And the guy was as gifted as they could be athletically, and his fundamentals in basketball are fantastic. But his desire to win, his effort to compete at everything, at every level, is what elevated him to that magical level that he ended up at.
Yeah, I mean, without question. Now, here's the magic question, and this is what all of the talking heads are talking about now. The pundits are talking about, my idea on is I don't really care, because I think they did what nobody else has ever done, but can they sustain it? Yeah. I mean, what do you think on that?
Well, I can tell you that Cignetti intends to stay at Indiana until he retires. That seems to be what he's said on a number of occasions. It's also something that I've heard from the athletic director at IU. And if that's the case, we're looking at probably 8 more years. And, if he maintains his energy level, and if he stays true to what he has said to this point, I do think it's sustainable, because right now if you're a high school quarterback, or if you're a quarterback at TCU, let's look at this Hoover kid, and you want to become the best quarterback you can be and enhance your chances of making it into the NFL, who else would you go to other than Cignetti? I mean, he's got to be the first choice. So is this something that is sustainable? My answer is yes. But obviously, you also have to have NIL. And so the coaching component is there. The facilities, Scott will make sure that the facilities down there are second to none. But what you have to have is enough NIL money to be able to compete with Ohio State. This Tony kid from Miami just entered the portal. Who wouldn't want that kid as a wide receiver on their team? I don't know anything about the kid personally, but he was supposed to be a high school senior this year, and he ended up with over 100 receptions for Miami. Now, he's so cat quick that whoever gets him is going to have to pay a huge amount of money. And I don't think Indiana is in that neighborhood right now where they're talking about $5 million for this Tony kid, and he's a freshman. So
yeah, but here's the deal too. You also have Mark Cuban. You have Mark Cuban, who has, the resources, and he loves Indiana University, and he supports Indiana University. So I'm like saying, hey, Mark, come here, man. Let's go out to dinner here, man. Let me buy you a nice cigar here. Let's talk.
Yeah, Indiana's got a few guys that are big contributors. Cuban is one of about 4 that are on a level that nobody else in the Indiana system can come close to. The owner of Cook Industries probably contributes as much or more than Cuban. Right now they're real happy with it. But Ron, you tell me, how many years would you dig into your wallet if they continue to have this success? Are you still really willing to write $30 million checks? At some point, they may say, you know what, I've got kids. I got to take care of them too. I've got other interests. But Indiana's not in the upper echelon for NIL right now, but they do have some very interested and very generous donors.
Yeah, and I think it'll be difficult for them to hold on to their coordinators. And I know that's such a big part of Coach Cignetti and his thought process of keeping everybody together. They got raises for his guys. Brian Haynes played at Ball State, played for my nephew at Ball State when they were undefeated. And Shanahan just does a great job. I think it's really, and I know that those guys at some point will want to be head coaches.
Sure.
It's imperative that he keeps that pipeline going for as long as he can.
Absolutely. And what they've tried to do with Haynes and Shanahan, and I think you're aware of this, is they gave both of them raises towards the end of the year, and they're significant raises. And so what they're doing, this is kind of a prophylactic effort on Indiana's part. They're trying to protect against, what's the natural progression of things. If you've been a really successful coordinator at a P4 school, the next step many times is a smaller school will come to hire you and make you the head coach. Well, they've put a salary in front of Shanahan and especially Haynes that takes away any incentive for either one of them to go to a small school and become a head coach, because the $3 million that Haynes is getting and the 2.6 that Shanahan is getting is way more than Ball State or Miami of Ohio can afford to pay a head coach.
Exactly. So what they're doing is putting everything in place. They got their guy. He's and I love him, man. He's kind of a goofy dude. He says, what are you going to do tonight? I'm going to drink me a beer tonight, man.
It looks like you might be joining him with his favorite beer.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's got Hoosier game day lager for the rest of his life, right?
Yeah, as if he needs to have somebody else pay for his beers.
Yeah, no, 11.3 mil a year. And if you ask anybody in the state of Indiana, he is worth every penny of it, because what he did for, not only alumni, but just people who were, Indiana fans, how he brought them together. And you talked about those arenas, those stadiums, the amount of color that was in there. Red was probably amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. And, the sustainability is a legitimate question. It really is a good question. Right now in the portal, they've done very, very well, but you never know. I mean, a kid who is a 4-star or a 5-star transfer from Penn State or from Wisconsin or whatever, you don't know if the guy's going to be a successful player at Indiana. It just depends on the system and the kid himself. So we'll have to see about that. And speaking of transfers and success stories, I want to shout out a congratulations to you, Ron. Your nephew, I see, is based on what I've read, could be the starting quarterback at Iowa next year.
Yeah, and I think it was a big show of faith when Iowa didn't go out and get a transfer or a portal quarterback. And his whole deal took place actually the week of the Indiana game because Gronowski got hurt.
Yep.
They put in the backup, and he was abysmal. And after that game, they opened up the competition for the number 2 quarterback. Jeremy won that and played that role then for the rest of the season. In his exit meeting, they said, hey, you take care of your business, man. You come here in the spring. We're not going to bring anybody else in. We're going to give you a shot. We like our quarterback room. We're going to give you a shot to be the Iowa quarterback.
Man, that is just fantastic. Congratulations to you, my friend.
Yeah, and that whole thing kind of happened because of Tim Lester. I mean, Tim Lester and Kirk Ferentz, he's a dinosaur. He's a relic. He's been a great coach for a lot of years, but he wants to ground it and pound it. He brings in Lester, who has all the formations. He still wants to run the football, but he wants to scheme people too. But they've never really had a guy that's a gunslinger. And that's exactly what Jeremy is. As long as he keeps it in the black and gold hands, I think everything will be cool, man.
Well, you gave me the opportunity to watch 3 of his playoff games in high school, including the state championship. And gunslinger is correct. I was thinking of Brett Favre the whole time while I was watching that guy. Boy, he just grips it and rips it.
Yep.
It'll be fun to see him. I'm hoping for great success for him.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, I'm waiting to see where I think they play IU at IU next year.
I believe that's the case.
I'm
not positive. I don't think they've come out with all of the schedule yet. I know, just to tease everybody, they've already told what date Indiana's playing Ohio State in Bloomington. But I think that's the only Big Ten game that's been actually announced so far.
But I guarantee you, I'll be heading down to Bloomington down State Road 37, man, and wearing a little black and gold. But I'm so. As the ball started rolling, as it got rolling in December, I became and I'm a Notre Dame guy, you know that.
Yep.
But I became such a passionate IU fan because what I saw, and I know Pat will tell you this too, they were doing it for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. It wasn't anything about greed. It wasn't anything about I'm getting mine. The comments that came out of Bloomington, Fernando Mendoza, anytime he was in front of the camera, he was giving glory to God, and every comment that those players made was about their team. And it was just refreshing in a day and age where it is about money. It is about posses. It is about gold chains. It is about that stuff. The Indiana team, I thought, just portrayed themselves as really, real, wonderful people.
Yeah, it was a wonderful story. It was a feel-good story for for not only for Indiana fans, but for people who want to see good people succeed. Cignetti had all these years in obscurity, and Mendoza, as you said, he was the perfect man for any interview possible. He seemed to say all the right things, and all of the other kids seemed to all be good, law-abiding, good citizens and good students. And isn't that refreshing?
That's really refreshing. So in Hoosiers 2, with Gene Hackman dead, he's gone. Yep. Can't use him. Who plays Curt Cignetti?
Wow. This is a real cop-out answer, but my answer is Curt Cignetti.
Oh, man. I don't want nothing. Just give me a beer, man. I asked this question to a couple other guys I've on tonight, and they all come up with Kevin Costner, man, or Matt McConaughey, how he played the coach in the movie Marshall.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I could see either one of those.
Or the UTEP coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, man, I miss having you next door because I could just go outside. Hey, Chris, Potsy, what do we got? Now I got to do it on a Zoom. But anyway, your comments are spot on. You have great knowledge of IU. You have great knowledge of athletics because you, like us, you're an ex-athlete, man. And we all think the same, man.
Well, it's a real honor to be on with you guys. I think the world of you. Pat, I think the world of you, too. I haven't gotten to know you as well, but Ron tells me all these wonderful things about you. So I know that.
I appreciate that.
If you've made the grade with Ron, you've already got the thumbs up from me.
I would guess some of them are true, so we'll go with that.
Hey, listen, Chris, thanks so much. Give my best to your wife and your family, and we'll get together.
Sounds great, and give my best to Monica.
All right, man. That is the great Chris Potts. He just knows everything IU. He loves IU. We're going to go right now to Doug Zook. And Zookie's been waiting for us. Zookie, how are you, man?
Gentlemen, it's good to see you. I'm just still pitching myself because I can't believe I'm saying Indiana University national champs in football.
Oh, no, I thought you were pinching yourself because you couldn't believe you were on Coach's Corner with the great Heckin' King, man.
Hey, I've been on with you before.
Yeah. You were in this seat. This was your seat, remember? For how many years?
A lot of years. Now, I have to tell you, I like the beer on your table there. Hoosier Lager. That's top shelf.
Yeah. This is our new sponsor as of about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
As you know, because of my liver transplant,
one beer a month.
I can't, but Pat's going to shoot all four of these when we're off the air.
These are still cold, by the way.
Yeah. So anyway,
this one's for Douglas.
Yes.
This one's for Skaggs. And here, you can have this one. How's that?
So 19 years, Doug hosted our show in Anderson, just Anderson basketball, anything sports. And if anybody got me involved in this, in doing this stuff, it was the great Doug Zook. We had a ball doing it, didn't we, Zookie?
You know what I used to always love when we did it at the Mounds Mall? And after the show was over, George Smith, all 4'5" of him, would walk in, and he and Gloria would hug you. And I'm thinking, man, talk about the tale of two heights right there.
George Smith, 4'5", and me, 6'5".
Yes, it was beautiful. I have to tell you, it's great talking with you guys. I was really looking forward to this tonight. It's I'm still overwhelmed that we're talking IU football instead of IU basketball. The boys were home for Christmas, right? And old dad had a knee replacement right before it. So I was pretty much sedentary. So we were talking about the good old times and about you, Heck. And we were talking about the show. And then I got to tell them about the time that you told me the story when you were at Ellettsville at Edgewood High School. Dockage called you up. You went to the hotel room. And there was Don Haskins in boxer shorts and cowboy boots sucking down some whiskey.
and a wife beater undershirt, and Bob Knight sitting there, and Haskins and Knight are just going on about their hunting stories, honestly, one of the best nights of my life for 90 minutes. Norm Ellenberger was laying back on the bed. Ron Felling was in there. Dockage was there. Russ Bradford, my friend from UTEP. One of the best nights of my life. To just see Coach Knight and the Bear, Don Haskins, just talk and just sit there and watch it, man. Listen,
and they were going to play the next night. That's how good of friends they were.
Yeah, they were playing, and that's when UTEP was really good. They had Jeep Jackson, they had Hardaway. They were really, really good. And Russ is the guy that recruited all those guys from Chicago down to Texas. So that was just a great time. But anyway, so when did you know that IU was really for real and IU was really going to turn the corner with this football program? Was it last year or was it, this past year?
Well, I want to let you know one thing. Iowa plays at IU in 2027, not 26.
Oh, okay.
I did look at that, but it is an IU game. They don't play each other next year.
Okay, good.
I thought last year there were a lot of holes. I thought
They do play this coming year. It's just at Iowa.
Huh?
Iowa?
They play this year. It's at Iowa.
Oh, okay.
In 2026?
Yeah, at Iowa.
I just looked it up.
CFB, that's what FBS schedules says.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong team. LOL. Sorry. Disregard. I'm dumb.
That's us. He's not as good a producer as you, but he's pretty good.
Can you?
Yeah, there you go. I thought last year when they beat Michigan really helped stamp where they were. I thought going out to UCLA and winning big out there, and then going to Northwestern and winning up there. I thought they had they were pretty decent, and I thought they were okay, but I didn't think they were real. When I thought they were real was when they beat Iowa at Iowa. That's what made me turn my head. That's the game. Because you know as well as I do, to go to Iowa and win at Kinnick Stadium is virtually unheard of.
Yeah, really, really tough. You're right. You're right. And then they go to Oregon and beat Oregon, and not only beat Oregon, but beat Oregon like a drum.
Oh, I tell you what, this Fernandez kid is just incredible. And you got to love everything he says. When he won the Heisman, I'm looking at what's the kid's name from Vanderbilt, Pavlo or Pavia or whatever.
Pavia,
yeah.
And they showed him and his brothers walking in like they're gangsters. And I'm thinking, no, they picked the right guy to win the Heisman.
Yeah, they certainly did. And what I kind of labeled him as was a little bit of Tim Tebow, but a lot more talented than Tim Tebow. But he had all the same, character traits, and he professed his love of God, just like Tim Tebow did. But obviously, I think Fernando Mendoza is going to be the number one draft pick.
I should be. And you had to love how he acknowledged his family, especially his mother, and it was heartfelt.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah. So it was unreal. I still feel like I'm living a dream.
So here's the question that we've asked everybody: Can Indiana sustain this?
Well, I don't know if they could sustain being number one, because I was reading ESPN's top 12 for next year, and they've already got IU number one. And I go, how are they picking them already? Because IU's losing a lot of their team this year. They really are. So.
Yeah, but they're getting the third best quarterback in the portal.
And he originally, if you remember right, he originally declared that he was going to go to IU, and then when there were some things happening in Bloomington, he changed it up at the last second.
Yeah. He was recruited to IU as a high school kid. Yeah.
Yeah, and Sorsby, the kid from Cincinnati, played at IU.
Yep.
And then then you had the guy up in Michigan, was it McCullough? He was a quarterback at IU. So. IU did recruit talent. AJ Barner, who played at Michigan his last year, he's playing in the NFL now for Seattle, I believe.
Yep.
And he was an IU guy. So I think your previous guest hit the nail on the head. Signetti knows how to coach. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I know.
Hey, which service are you looking at that had IU number one for next year?
I was looking at ESPN predictions for next year, the top 12, and they had IU1 playing against 9 and 8, and I don't remember who they had playing. I think Ohio State may have been one of them. I have to go back. I'm getting old, man. I don't always remember everything.
Zucker, one of the things
there's too many.
We're all talking about skilled players, but I still think one of the reasons IU was as good as they were this year was they recruited the blue collar guys for the line and also the defense. I think they went after, and you think about it, their front seven defensively, made a big difference in ball games. And, everybody was talking about Mendoza, but then all of a sudden, and we haven't really talked much about the X's and O's tonight, but their defense was pretty good.
Pat, I think you're making a very a very great statement that a lot of people have overlooked.
And astute, I would
Can
call
you
it
believe that?
an astute statement.
See, that's the football coming out. You know,
Well,
Anderson,
you
Indiana.
got to remember, my dad was a football coach, right?
Well, were you the quarterback for Woody Moore?
Yeah,
I remember those days.
yeah.
You guys lost one game that year and we got hosed by Richmond. But I'll leave it at that. Randy Albedo was the coach there.
He's got it figured out.
There ain't much
Hey,
gets
but
past
when we
Suki.
get done, I do have a question for you because you've been in Anderson all your life. I got a question for you here before we leave.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hey, so how and this is so sad for me to even make this comment, but how would Joe Wosheets have been going crazy about this this IU run here, right?
Well, let me tell you this. Ryan Wosheets is now in our group to go to the Indy 500 every year. And my oldest son, Chad, lives 2 blocks away, and he's big into Indy racing, and he's built his own sim, computer, everything, a lot of money in it, and he races all over. And Ryan Wosheets is in it in the same series, I guess you could say. And Danny Wosheets came up last weekend and stayed with us because he had to visit his mom at the nursing home here in Anderson. And he told me, he goes, Joe would be so proud because Michelle went to California, she went to Atlanta, and she went to Miami. She was at all 3 games.
That is good for her. That is so cool because we're talking about Dr. Joe Wosheets, an eye doctor in Anderson. That
Pat played with him.
Yeah. He's a year younger than I am. Matter of fact, his dad was my Babe Ruth coach.
Yeah.
He was a tits, wasn't he, Pat?
Oh my gosh.
He was a tits.
His dad was an NFL player rep back in the day.
He was the vice president in NFLPA.
Exactly.
I mean, my gosh, what a family. But, heck, last time you were here, I gave you a picture of Joe and I.
I got it. It's in my den, man.
At the last game of the Wigwam. And as I was pulling up some stuff today, the picture came up and popped out. I just thought, Joe, I hope you're smiling because I know he was like I was. IU basketball, we've won it. I was there in 81. I was a student at IU. We expect that. But I have been a diehard football fan, and I've never shared this with you, Heck. When I was 3.5 years old, my oldest brother, Dan, went to IU. So I didn't know him very much, but his suite mate was a guy named Doug Cruzan. Remember him?
Remember the name?
I do remember the name.
Doug Cruzan was the second player ever drafted by the Miami Dolphins, and he was the captain of the Rose Bowl team at IU when they played against USC. So ever since I was 3 or 4 years old, I'm going to be IU. There was no other school. There was no choice because I was going to be at IU, and I rooted more for IU football back when Pont was there. Then I lived the Lee Corso days. Love Lee Corso, great guy. Mallory. I mean, but I never understood why they fired Mallory to hire Cam Cameron, but that's a whole different topic altogether, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, I think Big Bill had some early success, had been to some bowl games, and maybe his last couple years they had lost a little bit of that magic, that success. And Cam Cameron was the young phenom.
Yes,
he was the young phenom, and talked well, but spent 5 years at IU and won like 18 games.
Well, I'll tell you where he made a mistake, and I told him this because I did run. Cam was at IU when I was there, so I was in classes with him as well, and we got to talking several years ago.
I thought you never went to class.
Yeah, it's different back then. I'm not no Carson Beck that hasn't gone to school in 2 years, but that's a whole different subject. But if you remember right, Cam's last year, he had Antoine Randall playing a wideout and a kid named Tommy Jones as the quarterback. And it didn't work, but he waited too long to change it up because Tommy Jones was not a good quarterback, but he was really trying to get Antoine more touches. But then he went back to quarterback, but they'd already lost too many games to make it to a bowl game. And if you remember right, that year was the year of 9/11, and IU played their last game at home that year against Kentucky because they postponed it because of 9/11.
Yeah. And so if anybody has a lot of knowledge, my guest prior to you was Chris Potts, and he like you, attended IU and just a big IU fan and really knowledgeable about the whole program. much like you. So NIL, transfer portal. Could IU have done this?
No way. Nuh-uh. The portal is what changed it all for IU, and it changed it for some other teams. I think Mark Cuban's huge, but the thing is, there's some former football players that have some wealth. Terry Talon, I don't know if you remember that name. He played on the 79 Holiday Bowl team. He was a defensive lineman when I was a freshman there, and he donated a buttload of money for the weight room at IU just about a year and a half, 2 years ago, right before Signetti came on board.
So what about Adewale Agunleye?
Oh, was that great seeing him on television? He's one of my all-time favorite Hoosiers because he could ball. He could flat out ball.
It's a great defense. IU has had some good individual talented players throughout the years, but I just didn't think that they had and like Chris said, recruiting high school kids. And in this Midwest, he said Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State. I mean, a great high school kid is gonna look at those schools before he looks at IU.
Oh, and why wouldn't he?
Yeah, no,
why wouldn't you?
And they have for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
So let me tell you a funny story. My freshman year, the year we won the Holiday Bowl, IU had two rushers that year that had 1,000 yards. Mark Harkrader and also Lonnie Johnson. They both
I remember those guys. Yeah.
And we used to call him Heartbreaker because every time you always thought he was going to fumble the ball. Blake Ezor was going to come up with it from Michigan State. And Harkrader played the last game against Purdue. When the game was over, they found out he broke both his legs and finished the game with two broken legs. He didn't play in the Holiday Bowl because of that.
Jeez. Wow.
That's amazing.
So what's going on in Anderson? Anything shaking in Anderson, man?
No, I mean, we're waiting on the cold spell like you guys have been hammered, it sounds like.
Yeah, 16 inches. I mean, 16 inches last weekend.
Yeah.
Literally.
I've got 20 inches of snow on my back porch.
Sorry, Pat.
Just as long as it stays on my back porch, I'm good.
Hey, there you go. Hey, it was great. A couple months ago, Heck surprised us and showed up at the front door, and Lucy got excited, my dog, and we went and we spent some great time together. And it was so great seeing Monica and Bugsy. We used to always tease Bugsy. You always bugging me, dude. Get away from me. And Pat, this is no lie. Ron would come to my house on the same day of every month. We lived across the street from each other for 8 years? Something like that, Ronnie?
Yes.
He would have a Coors Light with me once a month. We'd sit on the front porch and we'd have a Coors Light, and I finished more for him, but he enjoyed the one Coors Light every month.
That's funny.
Yeah. Great.
Heck, I was thinking about, we've known each other over 30 years now.
I know that. And not a day goes by that I don't miss you, man.
Hey,
I mean, our radio shows were legendary. That coach's show, okay, here's a little trivia. What was the name of our radio show?
Well, we had we had Heck on Sports.
Nope.
Was one.
Nope.
What was it?
It's Your Dime Talk.
Oh, that's right. No, but it's your dime talk.
It's Your Dime Talk.
That's like the Pizza Hut commercials now with Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, here's my question before we let you go. Think you got to go 50 years back. You were talking, football and everything like that. As far as bad football, Anderson High School. How many Anderson High School teams have been 10-0 or 9-1?
One, and it was your team your senior year.
I kept thinking, has there been one since, or is there
no?
One prior?
Now wait, PT did have a team in '84, I think, or '85 that went 8-2. But you got to remember back then they only played 9 games.
Okay.
And then they lost they played 8 games. They won a sectional game and then lost the next week. So the only year that Anderson won the North Central Conference outright, they did go 8-2. But since then, I think we've only had 3 above 500s campaigns. They're terrible.
Yeah.
So what would happen if we hired Kurt Signetti's cousin at Anderson?
I hope they have some NIL money ready.
Hey, you're saying that NIL's coming to the high school game.
There's no question.
It's coming to Indiana next year.
I know. Now, Pat, I wanted to ask you, have you been by the high school lately?
No.
I don't know if you knew this. The the athletic facilities, outdoor athletic facilities, are second to none.
That's what I've heard.
They've got sports turf on the football field. They've got the shot clock, if you will. The play clock at both end zones. It is an incredible facility, but we can't get any players. It's like all the Eli Pankel. You know who he is? He's now on the Colts practice squad.
Okay.
He grew up in our neighborhood, heck.
Who?
But he played at Pendleton Heights and then went to Duke because, these outer line schools are cherry picking all our good student athletes.
Yeah,
Well-
George Panko's grandson.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Like all the baseball players are going to Daleville.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
We
because
don't call
Terry
it Dale
Turner.
Bill. No, we call it Dale Tucky. Dale Tucky. Stop
He
it.
doesn't care.
And I was so proud of Terry Turner. He deserved both those state championships.
Hey,
He's
listen, man, we gotta cut this off.
We got pizza coming.
But I will get to you, and we'll talk in baseball season. We'll talk Reds and Cubs in baseball season.
Well, I'm trying to talk Coley, and he lives about 7 blocks from Wrigley. And I'm trying to talk him into getting me. I've never been to Wrigley. I've been outside of Wrigley, but not in Wrigley. So I want to go.
Well, you let me know when you go into Wrigley, and I'll meet you guys up there. I swear. You let me know when you go, and Monica and I will meet you guys up there.
What you need to do is have him come here and do
You're right, the South Shore.
Exactly. Take the South
Take the
Shore,
train,
get
exactly.
on the red line, and
Right
you
to
get
Wrigley.
get off at Murphy's.
Right to Wrigley, man.
Damn, Murphy's is an IU bar.
Well, it had to be hopping then, right?
I mean, you have 2 IU bars, Kirkwood and Murphy's, split between IU and Iowa.
It's in center field, and it's right under the L. It's right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Takes the red line.
All right, man. Listen, man, give my best to the family, your beautiful wife, Lynn, your children. Please tell them we said hi. And thanks for taking a couple minutes
Hey.
out of your Thursday night, man.
Hey,
and chatting
Thank
it up.
you. Thank you. I love this. And Pat, it was always a pleasure talking with you. You guys need to come down and, break bread together sometime. And,
Sit on the front porch, right?
well, you and I could drink, Pat. We'll
Good
allow
point.
heck one.
Well, we look what we got. Like I said,
Yeah.
what
As a
the-
matter of fact, I tried to order a case of that today.
All right, man. Listen, be cool, Zuki. Thanks
Hey.
so much.
Say hey to Monica for me. See you guys.
All right, see you.
Bye.
That's the great Doug Zook from Anderson, Indiana, man. He's the absolute best. Yeah, what a great show tonight.
We had fun.
IU Natty. We didn't get into much of anything else, but we will next week. Here's what I want to do next week, and I hope you're on board with this. I want to call Robert Falcons next week, the assistant commissioner at the IHSAA, and I want to talk to him and have him tell me what NIL in high school would look like.
And I've got Jimmy King on hold now.
Good.
So we can talk to him about NIL. One of the things I want to talk with Jimmy about is what if.
Yeah.
Let's throw him back in the time capsule. What would have happened if they would have had NIL in the early 90s? How many of those guys on the Fab Five would have stuck around?
And what would have happened if I eat 9 pieces of pizza tonight?
We're getting ready to go. Scott, get us out of here. We will talk to you guys next week.
Hey, thanks, Scotty King. I love you, and thanks everybody for tuning in tonight.
All right,
Go
we'll
IU.
Talk to you guys next week, and look forward to the same amount of slobbering when Purdue makes the Final Four. See ya.
Bye now.